of Sam Darnold, and this might be awkward because Greg just sang the praises of the Vikings. My change is I'm switching the Packers and the Vikings.
Wow.
All right? You see hold on, you guys are going to agree with my bar. Always take J-Lo over Sam. Is J-Lo on Pumpkin Watch?
I mean, kind
of.
Real maybe.
Y'all don't know what y'all talking about then. Because J-Lo, look, first of all, I get that the Vikings beat Green Bay earlier in the season.
Oh, did they?
That was J-Lo's first game back from injury. Probably shouldn't have even been playing with that knee injury. I mean, tough through it. And struggled in the first half. Second half, they outscored them 22-3.
That's true.
All right. Since that game, the Pack, Nick, 7-1. 7-1. All right, I'm looking at Greg Jennings when I say that. 7-1 since that.
Vikings are
This is your team. No, the Packers lost 2 since then, or the Vikings have lost 2 since then. Look, these teams are. I love the Vikings defense. Packers got a good defense too. They get a lot of takeaways too. They're both very similar. Vikings might be slightly better, but Packers got a great defense too. The run game. Josh Jacobs, if it wasn't for Saquon and Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs would be the guy out in front of the running back carousel.
What about Tony Pollard?
Pollard's up there, but Josh Jacobs is running through people, and you know that.
He is.
So I like that. And then here's Matt LaFleur. We love Kevin O'Connell's great too, though. But I take LaFleur, but O'Connell, I got no issues. But here's the other thing. Jordan Love, J-Lo gets better as the season goes on. We've seen this now for 2 years. Look at that. That's not misleading at all. It's just a fact. The weeks 1 through 10, he struggles.
Yeah.
And this year, in his first 8 games, he threw 11 picks. We were all like, J-Lo, what you doing? But now, we were like, J-No, right? That was his name. Now, the last 2 games, he's got no interceptions, 4 touchdowns. He's gearing up for the playoffs,
but just to
baby.
be clear,
Make a run.
This right side of the column where it says 10-3, 8-3 of that's last year, and when it says
2-0 is
yeah,
this year.
and it says 28-4 touchdown interception ratio, 24-4 was that
and
was last
4-0 this year.
I got you. I don't.
Like I said, it's a factual graphic.
No, it is. I don't know that it is compelling evidence.
No, it is not.
I'm convinced Wiles. I'm convinced Wiles. Greg wants to come over.
I need to see the Packers beat a really good team. The best win they have is the Texans, right? And that one, and that Texans win was a field goal at the gun. Some people think the Packers are going to the Super Bowl, which is not a.
Packers not a better pick than the Texans right now.
I mean, they.
Well, it's a better pick than
to get me to go off
All right,
team.
KW.
Yeah. Well, the Packers are definitely a better pick right now. And I had both those teams. So to be clear, like I'm not hating on the Texans. Okay. They're really coming at hard for Brew. For week 1 and 10, 1 through 10, and then week 11 onward since 2023. They're acting like that's a ridiculous, misleading graphic when it's like, are you serious? Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, all these graphics that these guys make are always kind of absurd and crazy, right? Like, Nick will say, from weeks, let's just take this player's top 3 best games and compare it to everyone else's top 3 best games. Or, let's remove the worst 2 games of this player and compare it. So it's like, what Brew's doing here is completely par for the course of what everyone else does at the table. So I don't know why they're acting like that's, like, so extra ridiculous. But again, you just have to trace back to how Jordan Love's career started, specifically as a starter, obviously. And I've already talked about this a bit, and so I'm not going to kind of go through all the beats again. But this season, again, last year in 2023, he was becoming an NFL quarterback. Okay, he may as well have just been a rookie at that point. He was learning how to become a quarterback. It took a minute to get going. And then once it got going, boy, did it get going. All right? And then the way how this season started, he got injured from the jump. He played on a bizarrely slippery field where everybody was slipping and sliding. Players are getting hurt. They're going down. Everyone's throwing interceptions. It was a mess. They're in Brazil. Okay? And so now he has to miss multiple games. And not only does he miss these multiple games, but he's also not able to really play, practice, and get and shake off the rust that every single team had. Literally every single team. From the greats to the most awful, They all were like kind of shaking stuff off. Every team, those first few games, looks completely different now than they did in the beginning. Every single team. There's not a single team that looks the same. Now, unless they were just bad and they just continue to be bad. Any of the good teams. So you're going to see that with Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. But now Jordan Love had to miss multiple games. So now when he's finally playing, they're like, well, hey, he's healthy now. And he should be good now. It's week whatever. And it's like, no, he's still shaking off that rust, getting situated. He then gets banged up again, which again is just very unfortunate. And now has to, kind of get back in it. So that's why this season it has been a very bizarre season. And we constantly face two kinds of people who are just either like, no excuses, or, or they make the excuses. And it's like, it's not. These are just reasons for why we're seeing what we're seeing. And so I am expecting Jordan Love to continue to get better. I mean, they played one of the best games, if not the most complete game. I'd have to really think about it a little bit harder, but definitely at the top. Last week, one of the most complete games start to finish, both sides of the ball, for all the other games, Thanksgiving week. Not even just on Thanksgiving Day, definitely Thanksgiving Day, which is, quite frankly, a pretty low bar to set. But in terms of all the other games, I'm trying to think quickly, like better than the Chiefs. The Bills were in a snowstorm, so it's a little tough to say. Obviously, they played a great game. The Eagles played a great game, but definitely still kind of got off to their, stereotypical slow start and whatnot. But again, so I mean, like if you had to really look at it, you would say that Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, last week were top 3, top 4 team in terms of performance. And again, that's not like that means something so much, but it just shows you who they are as a team and what they're more than capable of achieving. And that's the thing when you're talking about a younger team, which the Green Bay Packers are. The question for the most part, especially when you've already shown how great you can be, right? We've seen some of the peaks that this team can do, whether it was last year, whether it was this year, but especially last year against, like, say, the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. The question when you're a young team like that is always like, okay, we've seen what you're able to do. Can you do it consistently enough to be great, to be special? And a lot of times, what makes a team elite or great, however we want to define it, it's often just being consistently good. Like, you can't be elite or great without having consistency being the foundation. And I've always referenced this with backup quarterbacks. You have some category backup quarterbacks who can legitimately be elite, who can legitimately reach levels as high as Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. But my God, they can only do it like once every 10 games. So they're obviously not elite, they're obviously not great, and they're obviously not a starting quarterback. But we've absolutely seen it. You've seen those quarterbacks play out of their mind, and then they'll get a contract or whatever it may be, but they can't sustain it. And when you're talking about these younger players, these younger teams, that's what we often see. You'll have kind of some inconsistency, and so the question will always be like, can they stabilize it? And that was kind of the thing with even Jordan Love to a degree, which they obviously had stabilized. So that's, to me, like, this is a team that, like, you better be on the lookout. And I don't understand why it's like I do understand, but it's just like, it's funny to me that it's already like a totally acceptable take to like just have like immense doubt on Jordan Love, or to think like, again, I'm always open to the idea that, if you want to make the argument that Jordan Love is not a top 3 quarterback, or, and I made a similar argument with a couple other quarterbacks recently, like, those discussions are always like fair game to me. It is. If you want to have some sort of debate about, again, these younger quarterbacks like a CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, and Jalen Hurts isn't necessarily considered young anymore, but any of these, again, these more like up and coming, like less proven quarterbacks, to be like, well, how great are they? Are they top 3, top 5? Can they reach this level? Like, I think it's totally fair for someone to be like, nah, I don't know yet, or I'm waiting. Like, that's totally fair. But this idea that people haven't even like legitimately reached the conclusion that Jordan Love is actually like, his floor is already a great quarterback. His floor is better than that of Dak Prescott, or at the minimum, Dak Prescott. The minimum. That is who Jordan Love is. The fact that like people are still like if you ask Nick Wright right now, who does he think is better, Dak Prescott or Jordan Love, or if he could have a quarterback right now for this season fully healthy, who would he pick? I'm pretty confident he would pick Dak Prescott. And that to me is actually wild. That's actually a wild take. I can get the debate of saying, is Jordan Love ever going to be a top 5 quarterback? Like, I'm totally open to those conversations. I can disagree, but at least I can understand it. But like what Jordan Love has already shown, his peak already is already wildly impressive. And what he does and the way how he makes, and this is what Kurt Warner talked about, which I loved. I wish I could show you the clip, but he talked about that his style of play is constantly making defenses uncomfortable. And that a bunch of his turnovers can be seen as misleading. Some of them are absolutely undeniably 1000% on him. Some of them are just a style of play that will come with him making defenses uncomfortable and putting constant pressure on them. And it's just one of the cons of that style of play, just like how there's cons to every single style of play for quarterback. There is no perfect 100%. And also some of the interceptions are just unfortunate. It was the right throw, the right read, but just a great defensive play, or a bad tip here, a bad tip there, right? Like there's an explanation. This isn't just a quarterback, because he's kind of got this misleading reputation now, where he's just closing his eyes and throwing the ball, because he's had a couple bad moments like that, where he then did kind of just like toss it up, and then it was like a pick six in his own, red zone, right? Never go full Will Levis. So to a degree, he brought that on himself, but at the same time, I mean, go through the highlights of Peyton Manning, of Patrick Mahomes, of Tom Brady, of Brett Favre. I mean, we can go down the list of every single quarterback that has ever played, and they have some like really off, where you literally at home are thinking to myself, I wouldn't have made that throw. What did that quarterback? And it's in one way, it's like kind of cool when you see someone who's obviously as amazing as Patrick Mahomes throw a true head-scratching interception, and you do get the feeling of like, I could have done a better job than that, and you realize like, wow, it just goes to show you how hard it truly is to be a quarterback in the NFL. If one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the universe is going to make a throw like that. But again, this is what I always talk about. It's like we pick and choose when we want to heighten and enhance turnovers or any type of negative for the quarterback, and when we want to kind of just push it to the side. And I get it. Jordan Love does not have enough goodwill built up quite yet. I get that. I'm not ignorant to that. But I do find it funny. And this video is posting obviously on Thursday. I'm recording this at night, late at night. I'm just going to post, like I said, Thursday. So the day of the Green Bay Packers playing the Lions. And this game has big game potential. This is going to be a big moment for Jordan Love, because I know the type of player that Jordan Love is. Jordan Love really wants to be a baller, because to his core, he is a baller. He is an absolute playmaker, game changer, game breaker, whatever word we want to use. Like he is that dude. He is absolutely that dude. And there are not many quarterbacks in the league where if you're down by 21 in the fourth quarter, that you have any chance to come back, and it's just like you're just donezo. He is at the top of the list, with only like a couple other quarterbacks that you would be confident, hey, we got Jordan Love, we got a chance. This guy can fire himself out of there and get us through this. We got a puncher's chance. He is one of them. So he's got that to his core. And this is a big game, massive game. So it's going to be heightened. They're on the road. A win against the Lions changes everything, which I've already emphasized in many videos. But what I haven't emphasized yet is I'm really excited to see how does Jordan Love handle this moment, and how does Matt LaFleur coach and game plan for this moment. Does he set Jordan Love up for success, because he knows that Jordan Love is going to want to be a baller in these moments? This is where we really get to see the level of maturity of Jordan Love right now. If he can play a really clean, as I lose my camera, driving me crazy, a really clean, smart, strategic game, right? Actually playing within the game plan, not trying to do too much, and just playing fundamentally good football that it'll take to win. Can he manage the game if that's the type, if this game is, the Green Bay Packers are up 21-14 and they're in the fourth quarter, 10 minutes to go, can he play real, can he manage the game? Can he go from game breaker to game changer to game manager? That's what I'm really, really, really excited to see. I would be more excited to watch this game unfold with the Packers being up 21-14, 23-20 or something, than having the Packers come from behind in the fourth quarter with a game-winning drive by Jordan Love. I want to see the other side of the coin, because I know Jordan Love can do that. There's not a single doubt. I don't need to be sold on that. I want to see these other aspects of Jordan Love managing a game and doing so when the chips are at the center of the table. That's what I'm excited to see. So I hope we can kind of get, a taste of that for that, so we can kind of learn a little bit more. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers? Is he J-Lo or J-No? Do you think graphics like this are misleading? Do you think people are counting out the Green Bay Packers? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.